What is smoking, Canna family out there in YouTube land? It is your host, Dustin, with two buds in a jar. And today with me, I got the none other than Harry Cola
What is
is
up?
up in the studio. How are you guys doing today? We got the chat on. We ended up going live a little later just because we had a Munchy Monday video we had to film and several other videos. So me and Harry ate a bunch of edibles, got things set up with the quickness, and came in to the studio to do a live. So how are you guys doing out there? Sorry we have been MIA the past Monday. I mean, we just had some things going on in IRL and a lot going on in the studio and a lot going on in real life. So, we had to take care of that and get that out of the way. But how have you been there, Harry?
Chilling, man. I'm pretty fried right now.
Pretty fried, pretty fried. I gotta say, I am too, ladies and gentlemen. We did two reviews, and so we got reviews coming out there. We've seen you guys in the poll like the reviews, so we're going to go ahead and give you more bud reviews since you want that. You guys seem to like the growing content. We're going to go ahead and keep hitting you
Oh,
with the
shoot.
growing
I
content.
forgot to switch it back to the comments. We could not see the
We
comments.
cannot see the comments. Get on that. It's always something, but at least our audio is good this time, and our computer ain't going to overheat. There we go. Now we got the comment section up. Okay. Now, anyway, Canna family, we got a whole show. We did a lot of content for you guys, and we're going to go ahead and get into the show. First of all, what do you guys think about the content so far? Let me know. We cover a little bit of everything and do a little bit of everything on the channel, but what is your guys' favorite? We will always drop comments, as I say, and heard somebody say, actually, build it and they will come. And that is true. You guys seem to be really liking what we're doing out there, and we just want to make sure we're, providing you guys with content you want to watch. So, let me know, what your favorites are. By no means are we running out of ideas, are we, Harry? We
Oh,
got
I always got tons of ideas.
same, yeah. We got between me and Harry, we got content for decades. So don't worry about that. However, if you guys have some ideas, we would love to know. So the first thing is we got let's see right here. We are talking about our grows. Now, what do we got planned for our grows? I'm going to let Harry go first.
Our current grows, past
Yeah,
grows, which grows we talking about here?
these current ones actually that people's been watching in the shorts and actually loving, Harry.
Oh, they're the gorilla cookies?
No, not the gorilla cookies, Harry. The cheesecake and the other ones. The
They,
gorilla
they've been
cookies are
loving the
done.
gorilla cookies. They've been loving that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you guys do love the gorilla
Well, I
cookies
mean,
out there.
I think it would be some clear, a good idea to clear up some misconceptions about that grow.
Yes, let's do that,
So,
please.
so first off, it started off as a seed. You saw it the first time around. Then I took a clone from it when it was still in flower. So I monster cropped the clone. And then I grew that clone in a smaller tent because the bigger tent was occupied. I didn't have anything but the
Tell
propagation
them what
tent.
size that tent was, Harry.
It
Tell
was
them what size you grew that first or that gorilla cookies clone in.
it was a 2 by 2 by 3 tent.
Yeah, and it was from AC Infinity,
It's a
but
good
my
tent.
bad. Continue, Harry, man.
So I stuck it in that tent to try to keep it alive, but I was growing so rapidly, the only thing I could do to slow it down was to get it into flower. So I got it into flower in there, and I held it in there for as long as I could until the temperature started getting out of whack. But around that time, that's when the other amnesia haze were finally out of the way. So I just went ahead and moved it into the bigger tent where it probably should have been the whole time around. But I mean, I was doing a lot of experiments with the cloning with it. I was playing with trying to make my structures better, so I'm making a better structured plant. I'm still making it a little bit too thick, but it worked out overall. And then the first time around with that plant, I gave it 48 hours of dark, which did yield some pretty good results.
Yes, yes.
But
That
I
48 hours of dark really helps, but
but I heard you can give them 48 hours of light and it yields even better results. So I wanted to try it out.
And I mean, we all have our different ways of growing. Now, another thing I want you to explain to the Canna family, Harry, before we get started, there's just a few, things. One is a misconception. Tell them why that plant was not defoliated necessarily, and it was because the space you had
I
once again.
couldn't get in there. I could get to like the front and I can get to the side, but there was no way I could get in there and like clip it. And it was in there for most of its life. And when by the time it got to the end, it was just like, well, I'm looking at it and I was taking away as much as I could, but it was so thick and dense. It was just like but it grew well and it didn't get any mold and there was no there all everything looks beautiful. So
Yeah, I mean, imagine growing in a tent the size of a Willy Wonka Oompa Loompa. So that's kind of what Harry was doing, and that's why there wasn't a lot of room to do a lot of things. He does a lot of what is experimenting. He is new to the growing culture really. He studied it, dabbled on and off in other plants, but I have, about 2 decades of growing experience under my belt, and he likes to do experiments, and that is one of the things we bring to the channel as well, because you can look over and see a normal grow that I'm doing and then something crazy that Harry's doing, and somehow he's making it work. And I mean, by no means should that gorilla cookies have looked as good as it should have in a tent like that, and it did. So, I mean, I got to give him props. I mean, there was a lot of things in that tent don't have an intake outtake. I mean, the fan shit out in it. There was just a lot of issues, humidity issues, and problems going on. Harry faced, and I mean, he conquered it. And you guys see it in the shorts every day as it's hanging up and drying. Anything's possible with enough determination, huh, Harry?
it looks awesome too. It's so crystally. I can't believe like now I do say I think the light did add a little bit more stress than the dark, but I didn't really get to see it when it was in the dark. So maybe it could have been the equal amount of stress, you know? But from what I seen like that second day around, it was really it looked like it worked all day and all night, you know?
Yeah, and outside of the Gorilla Glue
Okay,
questions
we're done with the
or
Gorilla Glue now.
or the Gorilla Cookies,
Gorilla cookies.
what was it? Yeah, what do you got planned with these wedding cheesecake, and you popped a mimosa cake, one already did grow and finished growing now.
So I wanted another shot at autoflowers, but this time the autoflower is going to go back
Harry's
into
getting that redemption.
it's going back in that 2 gallon pot. So I'm gonna make it work in that 2 gallon pot, but it's going to be grown in the 2 by 2 by 3 tent. The other two wedding cakes, they get really big. These plants can get 12 feet tall, so I'm gonna have to low stress tray them and do some miracles in the other tent with these two. So I figure proper low stress training, I'm gonna have some pretty big hedges in the larger tent by the time they're done. It's not even that big. It's a 4 by 2 tent, you know?
Yeah, so you're going to see some low stress training from his wedding
I'm,
cheesecakes.
I'm gonna need more trellises.
And you're going to see with mine, I'm doing grape ape canna family. I got 3 germinated right now. I'm waiting for the fourth grape ape to germinate so I can go ahead and move them into the tent. I got the mimosa cake that's flowered and almost ready as well. All it needs is about a week, roughly, maybe 2 weeks at tops. And those two mimosa cakes should be done finally. For those of you that ain't familiar with that, what happened is I ended up using 8-year-old cow mag, and the plant just was not absorbing the cow mag, and it was getting, a heavy feeding on the back of the TPS bottle of silica. So, and then I remembered, oh, my silica is like 8 years old. So
That
the
was
plant,
CalMag.
or CalMag, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was CalMag. I apologize. So, yeah, I used CalMag and it was 8 years old and the plant just wasn't uptaking it. So I ordered some Fox Farm Bush Doctor and went ahead and fed the plants that. And initially they started bouncing back, and I did some low stress training in the middle of flower to direct some of those auxins and growth hormones up to the coolest sites, because I knew with the cow mag issue and as deep as I was into flowering that there is going to be some loss of yield. But if I'm able to direct them growth hormones to the plant sites, then I should be able to regain some of that yield. And I sure as shit did with one plant. so far that I've taken down in harvest, I have gotten 4 ounces. So a quarter pound off one autoflower is not a bad yield so far. And that's not counting the other two plants that were grown. Now, this grow, I plan to do grape ape. I want to use a trellis and run the branches through and have just a top canopy of nothing but beautiful cola. So you will see a low stress training on his behalf and you will see a trellis training. I just got to wait on old Amazon to bring and I got to order the trellis net for my tent. So,
What feed nutrients are you going to use for the grape
uh,
ape?
Fox Farm.
You're
Yeah.
sticking Fox Farm
Yeah.
100?
Yeah, because I have the Big Bloom, the Big Grow, Tiger Bloom, and I have the Bush Doctor Cow Mag. So I got like the whole nutrient system. And, I did enjoy the Marriage Grow, the
Marriage
simplicity.
Grow?
Yeah, yeah. The
Marriage Grow.
Marriage Grow wasn't too bad. It's if you guys are new to growing and advanced nutrient systems are just too much for you and all these bottles and all this shit, just check out Marriage Grow. Their nutrients come in two containers and they're pretty simplistic to use. So, with that being said, we're going to go into the review videos. Now, people are saying they like a lot of our reviews that we've done, and we have done, granted, quite a few reviews on cannabis products, quite a few reviews on disposables, carts, flour, etc.,
Edibles.
edibles, everything. And to some extent, man, people absolutely love it. They find it informational. They watch our videos and they ask all sorts of questions, and they say it seems to be a main, focus on our channel that our Canna family likes. So what do you think about that, Harry?
I mean, the reviews are fun to do as long as we have stuff to review. There's always stuff to review. So,
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we have a ton of stuff coming up in the freaking cannabis community that's always popping up, new devices, new, different, what is it, products and things of that nature. So, there's always something to get a hold of and test and show you guys, do reviews on. So we'll always be doing that. So don't worry. So those of you that watch and absolutely love our reviews, there's some of you guys that like our podcast. There's some of you guys that, like our reviews. There's some of you guys that like our growing videos. So we're going to keep covering each niche and, what we cover in our channel, which is anything and everything to do with cannabis, no matter really what it is. So,
right.
you know. We're just going to keep at it. So the next thing on the list is now that marijuana is not on the table for rescheduling. So it's not a main focus.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Harry?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell us about it.
I mean, it's just a typical thing. They say they're gonna do it, and then they're like, "Well, you know what? We'll get to it when we get to it
Yeah, they're
in like
like
20 year
they're
years."
they're like you can grow it, you can smoke it at home, but as far as rescheduling, we'll figure it out in like 20 fucking years. you know.
Yep.
So I don't understand it. My personal opinion, guys, and you've had it. Long story short, it's a plant with some oil on it, and the oil gets you high from the flower. So it's like, who really gives a fuck? It's just a plant, guys. It's not really a big deal. But they're trying to not put it on the rescheduling list, which means we're going to have fewer researches on it, which sucks because there's a lot of people scientifically we love to know, like us growers and us cannabis enthusiasts, and there's some cannabis nerds out there too, and they absolutely love, this type of knowledge and having these solid facts. And this isn't allowed to be given right now because, it was on the list and the table for rescheduling, but now, to my understanding, it isn't even on the table for rescheduling anymore. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just typical. That's what it
yeah.
gets. It's like the Twinkie they always have to dangle in front of people.
Yeah, they're like, here's the Twinkie. You can grow and smoke your weed. You can't
Right.
smoke it outside because you still go to jail, assholes.
They need to have that Twinkie on the
Just
string, or they
kidding,
won't have
guys.
something to dangle and pull away.
Yeah, yeah, and it's ridiculous. So, you have that sometimes, but I'd say keep pushing forward, toking your bud, growing your
Well,
bud, making your edibles.
it's a battle between politics and ethics and rights and all these different strings and categories fighting against each other.
Yeah, yeah, and you just have a bunch of problems that they're just never going to figure out with that stuff. It seems like they're always, in one way, shape, or form, just throwing it off to the side, throwing it off to the side. And I mean, we did get, where we're at specifically, we're allowed to grow, we're allowed to buy it, we're allowed to
Well, I thought
you
I
know,
heard something about it being accepted at farmers markets somewhere. I can't remember exactly
that would
where it
be
was.
great. Can you imagine growing your weed and taking it to a farmer's market and
That'd be
selling
kind of
it?
awesome. Or just going to a farmer's market and seeing other people's buds and finding some
Yeah.
fire buds at a farmer's market and being
And
like, bro,
genetics too. You could buy genetics.
or
That would be cool.
seeds, yeah,
Yeah.
right, or clones. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now it looks like here's another new topic. It looks like Hawaii is all up for mushroom use for clinical depression and anxiety. So I think it would be quite therapeutic to trip face on, the Hawaiian Islands. And I think it would be, I mean, I can't think of a better cleansing vacation. I mean, I would, because I mean, I don't eat shrooms or acid anymore, but, if I did, it would be in Hawaii. What about you, Harry?
It would definitely be a very beautiful place to be on some mushrooms, but
Gotta watch out for them falling coconuts, Harry,
yeah, right.
and pineapples. I mean,
Um, I mean, it's cool to see things starting to slowly open up more. Yeah, I never thought in my lifetime I would see even cannabis able to be grown and consumed at least indoors. At least that's a step forward in some direction.
Yeah, it's absolutely cool as hell. We can grow any cultivar of cannabis we desire and, that we can afford and physically have delivered to our doors through different companies.
Well, not all. Some you need like tree pots to grow, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a
that's
lot bigger
true.
tit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, some of them. But for the majority, we can grow any cultivar our heart desires and that our pockets can afford, and it's great. So, to all those states out there that can do that, salute to you. Any ones that can't out there, and they really need to change that so you guys can feel that freedom. Because I mean, it is really rather nice. I got to say, it's nice to be able to grow and purchase cannabis and things of that nature. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Besides Hawaii approving psychotherapy for mushrooms, Nebraska approves medical marijuana. So there's another state approving medical marijuana. And, it goes to show over period in a span of time that it's not that big of a deal, man.
Nebraska?
Yeah, Nebraska.
So Nebraska accepts it, but Texas,
Said fuck it.
it's like nope, none of it,
Yeah.
not even him,
They said you can
nothing.
have nice ass brisket and barbecue, but you can't have no weed to enhance the flavor
Everything's
with.
big in Texas except for
Eh,
cannabis. Cannabis is not
yeah.
allowed. That's true.
Everything's bigger in Texas but the fucking buds. What's going on, guys? God damn it, not allowed to grow no weed.
Hey, we're gonna get us age restricted.
Oh yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
say that, Genie.
Yeah, sorry guys. We're offended, my bad. I'm just saying, man, come on. Texas. Grow some weed, smoke some weed, everything's bigger in Texas. Grow bigger buds in Texas. Right.
I mean, you would think they would be like, well, we're in Texas, so we're gonna grow the biggest because they're the state with everything the
Yeah.
biggest. And they would
Yeah.
be growing that those Moby Cocks.
Yeah, the Moby Dicks, the Moby Dick buds, some donkey dick buds.
Yep.
Like, you know. But anyway, fucking donkey dick buds. Um, we got Nebraska. So I mean, salute to you guys for doing Nebraska people right. They deserve the right to smoke weed and get high off their ass too. I think the whole world does. With the way the world's going, it's better just to be high for real. That's just my opinion, but you know. Okay, study shows CBG and CBD helps with allergies. Well, holy shit. They are an anti-inflammatory kind of family, and CBG is more of an anti-allergen. So if you have anti-allergies and you don't want to take like Allegra, Metamucil and all this other bullshit that you take for like your sinuses and things of that nature. You can always reach for the CBD. It is an anti-inflammatory, and a lot of times why you have congestion is because your sinuses are inflamed.
But
So
the downside to reaching for that CBD is if you're a cannabis user, you're gonna have to use a little bit more cannabis to
yeah,
achieve your high. And won't the cannabis kind of counteract the CBD
it
as
actually
well?
cancels out the CBD cancels out THC canna family unless it's balanced in the strain, because then the cannabinoids allow it to all work together. But if it's just isolated as CBD product, then it's going to cancel out any THC that you use that day and bring you more to sobriety. So you want to watch how much CBD you're intaking if you're a cannabis user, because you're just essentially going to waste your cannabis, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think about CBD, Harry?
It's not really my thing. I prefer the other cannabinoids.
Do you think it has any medical benefit to
Oh
it?
yeah, of course. No, for sure. For sure, definitely. If you're looking for the medicinal side, I think the CBD for the body is for the CBD and for the mind is THC.
Yeah,
That's the best
yeah.
way I would explain it. And the other cannabinoids can assist in different things as well, but it's just like the a little bit of glaze on the donut, you know?
It is a little bit of glaze on the donut, I gotta say, compared to the whole thing, You gotta worry about the sprinkles and the frosting. Well, we already mentioned the frosting, but you gotta worry about the donut structure, and that's primarily the THC. So you gotta have a box of them donuts too, so multiple strands. So it says right here that there's even studies that found CBD relieves epilepsy seizures 2 times quicker than the medications.
Hmm,
And this is not due to placebo effect. So,
interesting.
yeah, they found an organic anti-seizure medicine. So instead of taking things like, Depakote and Xanax and things of that nature for seizures and epileptic fits, you can try CBD and it helps relieve epileptic fits. They did a test where they ran 50 subjects, and it shows that 50% of them, which is 50 that applied for the test, had lower epilepsy seizures because of CBD, and it actually were relieved of their seizures or their epileptic seizures quicker with CBD than they were fucking actual meds.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it seems to work in the brain and, real quick, I guess.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It gets
Yeah,
into the blood barrier, or at least when you smoke it, almost
yeah,
immediately. So once it's in the bloodstream, it's going to get to the brain as fast as your blood can carry it.
yeah, definitely. I'd say so. I mean, yeah, I can see that. I can see, CBD being good for allergies and CBD working better, for an epileptic seizure due to the fact it hits your brain, you know.
Now, now is this like preventing seizures or is this during the seizure? What are we talking about here?
It prevents seizures.
Preventing. Okay, so
Yeah.
that makes good sense to me. Yeah.
Epilepsy and seizures, yep, or epileptic seizures. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Now, here's the big thing, people. Now, there's a new bill that if it passed, people like business owners like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and, Bill Gates and, all these major people will be drug tested. And, I'm not sure if old Elon Musk is a pot smoker or not. I mean, but, these
So wait,
people,
wait, wait, what? What's going on?
if this new cannabis bill is passed, people like, Donald Trump, people like Elon Musk, people like, you know, uh, Bill Gates will be drug tested for pot and held accountable and, for smoking cannabis.
Oh, um, so if I'm so confused. So I have a little too blazed for this question right now.
So if Elon Musk, because he owns all of his companies, and Donald Trump owns a bunch of shit, he's the president, and Bill Gates is the CEO of his corporation and companies. And there's a new law. If it passes, they'll get, if they fail for a drug test, they can get in some serious shit
Now, what
because
kind of drug test are we talking about? Are we talking about a cotton swab?
a
Are we
piss
talking?
test.
Okay, a pee test.
Yeah.
I don't see it being that big of a deal because I see them as being responsible people, and yeah, they might
Yeah.
have smoked here and there, seldomly, but they're not smoking the like we do. They don't wake up and toke bong rips.
Yeah, that's true. I can't see Elon Musk waking up and smoking a blunt the size of a baseball bat,
No,
or,
no, it's
you know,
very seldomly like that time on Joe Rogan was probably one of those times he was like, "Fuck it, let's have fun," you know?
yeah, and smoke some
He
weed.
was
I
on
agree.
he's on Rogan. Rogan does that. You know, he's in the in crowd. Fuck it, you know.
Yeah, and shit the bed. I mean,
Amber Heard.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't pull an Amber Heard and shit the bed, guys. But especially when you hit your wrong coffin too hard, you don't want to do that. But anyway, freaking. So I think, people even like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, should have the right to smoke weed if they want to smoke weed. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's
Yeah,
ridiculous. And again, I think they're responsible enough people to where if something they knew something like that was coming up, they would just not smoke weed. People act like weed is like this thing that's like, oh my God, you can't once you do it, you can't stop. No, you know what you can't stop doing once you do it? Nicotine. Know what you can't stop once you've done it long enough? Caffeine. I don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I gotta hit my nicotine my THC vape. No, I wake up in the morning and on the way to my morning pee, I'm searching for my nicotine vape. I'm
yeah.
half asleep. I'm not even thinking yet. All I know is I want this nicotine.
All while Harry's getting attacked by his cat too. Tell him how horrible it is in the morning for you.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's just that I wake up and the cat's ready to get its attention, even
Yeah,
before I get my nicotine.
yeah. Always getting in the way. The buns are the same way, man. They want snacks and shit. They'll have like a half full food bowl, and they'll be like, "Oh, we want treats anyway." So it's crazy. But I think, essentially all these people at the end of the day, whether they're celebrities, whether they're president, whether the CEO, companies like Bill Gates, whether they're YouTubers like me and Harry, it don't matter. People are people. And I think everybody, that's,
Is our chat dead tonight?
a
What's going
living,
on with our
breathing
chat?
person. Hold on. Uh, no. Yeah. Yeah. Rob G says if you own the company, you are fire yourself. That is absolutely true. So, I mean, it's like, it makes no sense. People are people and they should be allowed to smoke cannabis, is where I was getting
Now,
at that.
okay, so I think like while you're at your job, you probably shouldn't be smoking, but what you do
So,
outside of your job shouldn't matter.
I don't know. Sometimes your job can be aggravating and stressful, and you need to like de stress and go
Well,
out in your car and just blow a whole
okay,
quarter to the face.
maybe it could depend on what your job is, you know?
Yeah.
Like certain jobs, you really might need a clear mind to do that job.
That is true. There is some jobs that are definitely, yeah, it all depends,
Yeah,
I'd say,
if
what
you're
you do.
driving the bus, I want you sober and a clear mind.
Yeah, but if you're working at Burger King, you should be able to get blown off your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe not, but I don't know, man. That you probably shouldn't be so blown that you can't function. You need to be able to
Yeah.
function,
Yeah.
but
You don't
enough,
want to burn your hand in
just
the
a
deep
couple
fryer or some
puffs to
shit.
take that edge off, so you can get
Yeah.
through the mundane, flipping the patties, putting them on the burgers, and dressing them up, and getting them out the
Yeah,
door.
or sell motherfuckers clothing and TVs and shit, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you be stressed out and you just need to smoke, and I think you should be allowed to
Uh,
have that.
with certain jobs, smoking can help because then you'll
Yeah.
slow down and you'll want to take more time in what you're doing and more thought in what you're doing. You'll take more care in what you're doing because you're not angry, you're not frustrated at where you can just sit
Yeah.
back. Okay, let me look at this from a different angle. Let me look at this from this angle. All right, let me make this look really great. So I feel like it helps a lot of times, and you'll still do it quick. It'll just do it really good, and you'll be like, "Oh wow,
Yeah, a lot of times, sometimes you get frustrated, you go back to smoking, it brings you back that stroke of inspiration. So if you're at your job and you're frustrated and you're like, I'm about to quit, you go smoke a blunt, you're like, okay, this ain't that bad, it's just another shit day at work. So I think you should be just like a lunch break or a smoke break at work. I think you should do if you can function, there are people that smoke a joint and just like are
yeah." I
are
mean,
vegetabilized, man.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to do it on a person to person basis, but it kind of almost is like are
You
you
have to almost.
are you a child when you smoke or are you an adult when you smoke? That's the
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Cause I've met some people that smoke and they go full retard.
I
Yeah,
think
you know.
I think after about 9 bags, I get pretty giggly.
Yeah, yeah. I can admit. I mean, I get goofy. Like I start laughing and shit. But I mean, I'm not like the bad, fucking on the short bus licking windows.
Right.
I'm shit. I'm
Still
probably
functional.
yeah, like 600, 700 of them store Bickle bags before I'm that retarded. Like off some THC. So I don't know. Everybody has different tolerances and it's not like they can do individual bases, but at the same time, I do feel like, you should be allowed to have that freedom at work. And as long as you're not, disrespectfully smoking, near children or old people or elderly people, sorry, or, just people that don't, want to inhale it, but if you go out to a park and you should be allowed to smoke in public as long as, you're not smoking near a family reunion or, you just sit down with your 12-footer, you and your buddy, and you're blowing down like a quarter pound, shooting, Instagram videos or whatever the hell it may be, then it's cool, man. You should be allowed. Like Mother Nature and humans always have a deep connection. So you should be allowed to smoke marijuana and, have that deep connection with Mother Nature and not have to hide in your house like some kind of crackhead on Skid Row in, LA or something.
We got another comment.
Oh, we got another comment.
Rolling in with the
After
comments.
so many years, I have trouble getting high. Now, Rob G, I've went through that myself, and let me tell you some things I've done. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, here comes the tolerance break bullshit. But no, believe it or not, it isn't. And let me tell you how to. Now, if you're just smoking flower day in, day out, that's all you do is smoke the actual bud, switch only to like carts or
Or
vapes
concentrates.
or concentrates. Go to something else and completely use that. And I promise, if you use that for 2, 3 weeks, like dabs, like edibles, and you come back to that same bag of flour that wasn't getting you high, it'll get you high all over again. Second thing to have, if you like sativas, if you like hybrids, if you like indicas, another good way to constantly stay high is switch it up. I'm talking about smoke, if you like gray, indicas, smoke like Afghani Kush, your Granddaddy Perp, and your Grape Ape, all three of those, but make sure you're rotating them. You're smoking different ones in the morning. And that way you're having a plethora of cannabinoids and they're affecting you different. And you're not just getting the same THC, the same cannabinoids hitting you day in, and your body builds a tolerance to it, just like it does anything, just like it does to cigarettes, nicotine, caffeine, THC, alcohol, anything. Genuinely. So if you're using the same thing again, and that goes to people, if you're drinking energy drinks and the ones you're drinking's not working, you're drinking the same fucking energy drinks, try different ones. They all have different effects. And that's the same thing with cannabis. So you want to genuinely try, if you're the type of person that buys a month and stocks up, you want to get different strands because they're going to affect you differently. You don't want to sit there and, get a pound of or like 2 ounces of OG Kush and then, another thing, a vaporizer. I cannot tell you, they are expensive, some of them. I have a Stores and Bickle one that's like $700. But at the same time, every time I smoke the same strand through it, it gets me high every time.
The
Same
the
thing. Even
the
Harry can
vaporizer,
attest.
the vaporizer after about 3 bags, I'm good, and I have a Dustin level tolerance.
Yeah. And see, Rob G says it helps for pain. And honestly, yeah, indica really helps for pain. The stronger indica you get, the more it helps for pain. I gotta say, there's not really
Well,
a
it's the
sativa.
CBD. It's the
Yeah.
CBD.
And yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the purple the medicine and the more indica, the more it definitely will help for pain. And I gotta say,
That Gorilla Cookies has some CBD on it.
yeah, do you know any other ways of, getting baked still off the same? You want to stay away from the same
I
strand
mean,
smoking again and
I've
again.
done some crazy things where I've taken nugs and infused them with distillate and rolled them in wax and rolled them in keef and then smoked that.
That's another thing, learning how to make your own moon rocks or, whatever you got available. So, if you have concentrates and, you want to mix it with your flour and you have keef and you want to throw that in there. So there's a whole different way of, if you have a cart and flour and all you smoke is like buds, then, hit some of that flour and then finish that and then, go to a cart and that way you have two different buzzes going on. Because each way of cannabis, and this is for everybody, and a lot of channels and stuff like that don't mention this, but each thing is a different buzz. Edibles is a different buzz. Carts are a different buzz. Disposables are a different buzz. Flour is a different buzz. And they're all either live resins, diamonds, dabs, this, distillates, this, that, the other. So if you build up a tolerance to a certain thing, just switch it over. If you're a dabber and you just can't get high off dabs anymore and you're taking sheets and putting it in your
I've been
banger,
there.
yeah, I have too. We both have, unfortunately. You just switch over to flower. Like I started smoking blunts and I got high off my ass,
Yeah,
you
after I,
know?
I quit smoking flower for quite some time, and then I went back to flower, and I was like, wow, man, why did I ever stop this? This is amazing. It's so much more potent.
I gotta say, absolutely.
But it's the cannabinoids because
Yeah.
different extractions strip different cannabinoids out of the plant, whether you're using chemicals to heat to CO2, depending on what you're using to extract, they all pull different cannabinoids and different things. So when you switch things up and go to those other things, you're removing those other cannabinoids out of your diet. So when you get those other cannabinoids back, they just hit so much
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah, and that's just those are just some key things that'll help you guys, especially if you've been smoking. Sorry, that was my phone. For as long as time as me and Harry have, or, longer than we have, you definitely want to do that. It'll help you greatly. A lot of people will tell you tolerance break, tolerance break. You don't have to do that.
It helps. It helps if you've smoked for a long, long time and you want
Yeah.
to kind of just like kick it back, but then you got to take at least a couple weeks for that tolerance break to really get any use out of it. And your tolerance is going to creep back up really
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking about only probably for a 3, 4 day period, or if
Two,
you, yeah, yeah,
about 2 days.
yeah. Mine was about a 3 to 4. I quit smoking. I was just so busy. I just didn't have time, and I was hitting it here and there, and then my tolerance dropped greatly. But within 3 days, it was right skyrocketed again. I still get buzz, like I feel it, but I feel more normal than I do like high,
Well, I think
unless
that's
I'm really taking smoke to the face.
that's a weird thing that happens with true stoners, people who've smoked for, 10, 20 years long, and then you get to a point where it's like when you don't smoke, you feel more messed up than if you would have smoked.
Yeah, yeah,
Now you
yeah.
but like, and it's not necessarily bad either, because that's just the cannabinoids in your brain releasing, and you're getting those extra cannabinoids that are just stored up in your brain at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's just a little pro tip. That's something I've done over the years, and I've been able to keep smoking and getting high and, feeling something. I know a lot of people only smoke flower, but there's different ways you can vaporize it. You can smoke it. You can put it in a joint. You can put it in a blunt if you don't like nicotine vapors. You can get organic blunt wraps. Look into high hemps. They're all organic hemp wraps. They're not like tobacco or nicotine. So if that's not really your thing, then try those out, and that'll probably change your mind. You'll probably become a blunt person because I know I did. I smoked all the White Owls and all the Phillies and all that stuff, and then I tried all the nicotine blunt wraps, and then I tried the high hemps and the more organic hemp ones, and the hemp infused with CBD. And I got to say, I really enjoyed them. Yeah, I like raw papers too. I got to say, raw papers really good.
Yeah, I enjoy a raw every now and
Nice
then.
raw, yeah, they're fire, dude. They're fire. We got right here. New York is launching weed growers programs. So they're launching programs right now that'll teach people how to grow and farm weed and all of that. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. I gotta say, before we get into that though, Rob said he needs a vaporizer. Vaporizers, you can find them usually at your local head shops, water beds and stuff. I would go on Stores and Bickel. It's a German website. Well, it's an American website, but it's a German company, and they sell just handheld ones, stationary ones. But the blow up bag ones you see for medical patients are the absolute best. That's one of the ones I got. But there's handheld ones that work just as good. There's all price ranges too. So you just have to look into cannabis, vaporizers, and in this day and age especially, there's so many different devices and so many different companies. But I can highly recommend Stores and Bickle just because the overall quality. I've had my device now, I'd say what, Harry, over 3, 4 years.
Yeah, you've had it
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, I've had it for a while now, and it's just been kicking ass, and I've just had to change the filter, and it came with replacement bags, and it has a hose, and I got to buy the water attachment to it, but those are sold separate with all of them. But you can get handheld devices at your local head shops or water beds and stuff if you're familiar with those, or just off of companies, just look them up and search the companies. But I gotta say, the handheld ones are some of the best because they look like either nicotine devices, like disposable vapes, or they look like this, and you just load your chamber like a chamber like this, and you can go around hitting it in public. A lot of people are just not going to pay too much mind to it. So it's very good for low key smoking if you're in parks, if you're somewhere public and you want to hit your weed, but you don't want a bunch of attention by lighting up a joint or a blunt or pulling out your glass piece. And
And the
yeah,
vaporizers are really nice. I don't have one myself. I really would like to get one, but they are pricey. And right now, you know, it's not the time.
some of them, like the ones I have, can range from $600 to $700. Handheld devices can be $300, $400, but some of them can be way lower than that. Anywhere in like the hundreds, 60s, 40s. So it's all depends on your wants and needs, and all depends how much you want to spend on it, honestly. Mine was a gift, so I didn't go out and just purchase a $700 vaporizer. Mine ended up being a holiday gift, so I was lucky enough to get that. I did a video on the channel, Stores and Bickle video, and it was awesome. It was a good time. Me and Harry vaped from it. We smoked some flower and we smoked some concentrates, and
It was way smoother than that student glass with a lighter,
yeah, yeah, we did the student glass run
which the
when we
student
got that.
glass is amazing with charcoal.
Yeah, yeah. And we're going to do that too. That's another thing we're going to have on the video one time is just student glass. I think that'd be a really nice
with
aesthetic
with
piece.
charcoal.
Yeah, with charcoal would be really cool. I mean, honestly, we'll get that going next. If you guys want to see the student glass, let me know down in the comments section below. And I will definitely have the student glass, that big German glass piece I have. And it is amazing. We have the charcoal pucks and everything we need for it. It's a cool little hookah device. If you guys own a Stores and Bickle, let me know down in the comments section below as far as vaporizers. Or if you guys own a student glass, let me know down in the comments section below. Both of them are German companies, and just like most German things, it is high quality and well engineered, I gotta say. So, I trust German glass and German products. I'm a German person, so that's just how I roll, man, with the cannabis products. I like German glass, I like German products, man. So, but outside of that, there are different American companies for vaping too. I just, like the I guess more exotic shit you would call it. Maybe I don't know what the fuck. Imported shit. Yeah, imported shit. But there's all sorts of vaporizers, man. So
Yeah, tons
yeah,
of them.
yeah, tons, tons and tons. So we got a bunch of things we done covered. Let's see. The one thing I want to get into is this algorithm system of YouTube, Harry. Now, it's been the bane of our existence since we started Two Buds in a Jar. And you guys, man, I'm telling you, For you guys think it's easy to do a weed channel. Yeah, yeah. You know, yeah, it's not, man. Not only is it an ass ton of preparation and know-how, but it is an ass ton of agricultural and horticulture know-how. Not only that, you got Daddy YouTube coming at you.
Daddy YouTube.
Daddy YouTube. Let's get into old Daddy YouTube. So, they've been riding our asses, me and Harry, for the past, almost 2 years now that we've been on YouTube. And we've got some traction. We got some growth on this channel. Shout out to the Canna family out there watching our shorts and, watching our podcast and watching everything. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the reason we exist out there in YouTube land. But YouTube's trying to make damn sure that we don't.
It seems that way.
Ain't it? And let me tell you why. It's because, of course, uploading cannabis plants, you're never allowed to do that on YouTube, especially if they are flowering, just
We've been
period.
doing it.
Yeah, and now we're allowed to do it. And, before we didn't have enough subscribers, before we didn't have enough views. And now that we are getting, thousands of views per short and hundreds of views per short, they're allowing it. And it's like, it's almost pay to play here, except, you make your content, you get your views, and as long as your numbers go up, you're allowed to do what you want to do in YouTube land, except for certain things.
Well, yeah, it's not, I don't know. I mean, I do feel there is
That's
some
how I feel.
favoritism. I do
Yeah.
feel there is some favoritism in the YouTube world, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a different, it's a difficult terrain to try to cross because the algorithm is constantly changing and it's catered to each person. You know, my algorithm's different than your algorithm,
Yeah.
it's different than somebody else's algorithm. So it is really complicated to try to figure out what will people be interested, what will the algorithm accept, what will YouTube accept, what line of dialogue actually is going to be okay versus a line of dialogue that won't be okay. So and then you got to think too, like, it's just so much to think about, because you don't want to upset the wrong people.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, you want to grow an audience and, have a lot of people, which we have grown an audience. And, we've grown, a group of people that constantly comment and, like our stuff. But YouTube is slowly trying to stop, cannabis growers, I feel, from creating any type of content. And then it's weird, we're allowed to show you guys the plants. We're allowed to show you guys the plants flowering. And why it's weird is because on our end, what you guys don't see is we'll upload it. We get hit with an age restriction. We go to our channel. I appeal the age restriction because I do this every fucking day. And
Twice, three times a
yeah,
day.
about 3 times a day. And they will say, oh, we see that your content does not violate our community guidelines. We will remove the age restriction. So why even age restrict the shit before? And our guess is when we drop videos and they're not meant to be age restricted, when they age restrict it, it only goes out to about 20 of you. And 20 of you out of 2,000 is not a good number. It needs to reach all 2,000 of you, for instance. Well, we're at 1,900 subscribers, so it needs to reach all 1,900 of you. And YouTube prevents that until they feel like getting off their asses, doing their little algorithm system, and sending the email back to us that says, oh, hey, it doesn't. Our bad. We'll put your content back on. And beforehand, we weren't allowed to put plants on there, period, because it would just be age restricted, because it was harmful activities. I don't know how growing a plant's a harmful activity.
Watch out, YouTube, there's bushes outside.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn YouTube.
Watch out, that grass. That grass might jump out
Yeah.
and get you.
So I don't know. So that's what happens, guys. On our end, we
Look
face
out, that weeping willow
and
might fall over in
And
40
I'll,
years.
yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you guys, check out our channel. Every week we upload. So every week there'll be videos. Every day there'll be shorts. And if you guys haven't seen something like, why haven't they? Go check our videos because 10 times out of 10, it was age restricted. We couldn't get it the age restriction moved. and our video didn't get out to you and you'll have to go look it up. That's not all the time because we try to make YouTube friendly content, but
We
it's
we
really
try.
hard
We
with
try.
what we've created and done. So,
They definitely
I'm
don't
going to go eat another edible. I'll be right back, Harry.
they definitely don't like the cannabis content, and it's hard to talk about something and not show what you're talking about because it kind of defeats the purpose of talking about the thing in the first place. If you're trying to explain a deficiency or a heat stress or some part of the plant of what's going on there, you need to be able to show that material and so you're not seeing the wrong thing because different plants can exhibit slightly different signs, which they're all similar. They're all very similar, but they can exhibit different symptoms, especially in cannabis from cultivar to cultivar. Even though they do pretty much have a baseline symptom, some can exhibit them slightly differently,
Absolutely. So, and we got to be able to show you guys that, and we can't. So,
right? And yeah, it's definitely a complicated thing because even getting the footage in the first place sometimes, just getting that image or that clip is a bumpy road to navigate through Google anymore.
yeah, and see, there's a point where we're getting a lot of views, and I went through all of our shorts now that plants weren't age restricted. So we had a bunch of plant videos, of course, hundreds of them that were age restricted. So I go through all of them a couple nights, get them all unage restricted, can of family. And soon as I do that and get them all unage restricted, they remove them because now they're allowing that for whatever reason when they never did before. But then they hit Harry because he takes care of the audio with 3 copyrights. Tell him what you had to do, Harry.
I just went and trimmed the copyrights out.
Yeah,
Whatever the issues were, I just trimmed it.
it was absolute bullshit, guys. So it's like any way they can get us. They definitely will. We ate some edibles. We ain't going to tell you what it is because we're going to release a video on it. We want you guys to see it.
They're
But
fire.
they were fire, pure fire. Definitely good and
I
tasty.
only ate one, and I'm stuck in my chair right now.
I'm not going to lie. I've eaten 5 and I'm right where I want to be. You know, 5 edibles to the face. So, and they're big size.
Well, after like 10 bags, 11, 12 bags to the face, man.
Yep. He's got 12 bags of stores of pickle to the face. And how many edibles?
I only ate one edible.
Like 12. Well, man, we've been smoking out of that stores and pickles since we started today.
Yeah, yeah, because you had like some of
We
that,
packed up in it. What
yeah,
strand was that purple cake?
grape cake,
Grape
maybe?
cake. That's what it was.
No, I think it was something else. I can't even remember.
That is true. I can't either. I can't remember exactly what it was either. But let's see. I know we didn't run through the docket that quick. So there's my physical docket. Here's another one. And we're going to go into
Do
this.
you want to talk about my theory on the pyramids?
Oh, yeah. So Tyler got so high off.
Harry.
Yeah. Not Tyler. I was reading this thing about Tyler Perry here on Google. It's actually pretty fascinating.
What did Tyler Perry do?
Well, I guess he's going to be in another couple Medea movies, and they're supposed to release this
I
summer.
never liked the Medea movies. It was never really my thing, you know?
Yeah, he was always a good comedian, but
It's funny, but it's just not my brand of humor, full per se, per se.
yeah, and I completely messed it. I was reading that while you were talking, and I'm like, Tyler fucking Perry's going to be in 2 more. Well, it was just funny. Some of the Medea movies are funny. I don't watch them all the time, but as a kid, I seen them on TV, and I was just pulling up the docket, looking at Harry, hearing what he was saying, and I'm like, man, Tyler Perry's going to be in 2 more Medea movies. I got to check that out. But anyway, let's get back into that docket.
Oh, we were talking about the pyramids too.
Oh yeah, what Harry Cola thinks about, and I got stuck on Tyler fucking Perry. That's why I was like, duh. But
So,
yeah, yeah.
okay, so here's my crazy idea. Um, so what if what they did was had some way that they could 3D print a casing, and then you
Yeah.
take that hollow casing and place it in place, right?
Yeah.
And then you fill that with the concrete because we know they must have had good concrete recipes back then because of Roman concrete. So they must have had good concrete recipes. So they made the casing, put that in place, filled the casing with the concrete, and then boom, if they were able to print these things in some way, then they could print them in the shape that they needed them to be in, put them in place hollow when they're light, then make them heavy,
Well,
like
it's
Legos.
yeah, essentially they'd be like Twinkies, and then they'd fill them with concrete instead of cream.
Then they'd harden up, and then there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that'd be a really fast, easy way to do it, and you don't need some magic levitation or vibrations or some kind of
yeah.
crazy
I've
system. You
heard
just
they used magnetic,
levitation or
yeah,
something to move the
yeah,
bricks.
through
But
magnetic.
I think it makes a lot more sense if they had some way that they could 3D print things at that time, but maybe not with the same technology that we have now. It could be way more, simpler version of that. But you can make this hollow casting, let it dry, and then you can easily move that into place and then fill it because it's strong enough to hold the concrete that's inside of that. That dries, and then boom.
And keep in mind, Canna family, that they had the sun, and they would use that on dials to use as a laser to carve things out. And they had, different forms of sand, clay, stone, everything available to them in the desert, essentially. So, I mean, I'm not saying this is what happened because my true opinion on all this is I wasn't there. I don't
Well,
fucking know.
it's fun to
But
speculate.
yeah, but it looks like concrete to me. I don't know.
Well, and then
So,
there's when the people who study rocks, the geologists
yeah.
studied the pyramids and look at it, they said that it looks like there's I can't remember how many thousands of years of erosion, but if that's true, that means that thing was made thousands of years before that to even get to that point of thousands and thousands of years of erosion.
Yes, those pyramids are a lot older than what we think they are,
I'd
you
have to
know?
look at I can't remember exactly what, but that would make sense too, because then if those original castings were completely worn away, how would we ever even know there was castings there?
That is very true. Yeah, they found out some of the Sphinx and some of the pyramids were way older than what we predicted. So, who's to tell how old the Earth actually is? We don't even know that. We don't know how old the pyramids are.
Just rough estimates.
Yeah, that's all we can do is speculate through carbon fossilization. They do carbon testing. They test nitrogen levels and things of that
Well, they have
nature.
new ways of testing now other
Yeah.
than just carbon dating, and they have a bunch of different things, but I don't know. It's still just our best guess. And then,
It
throwing a
is.
dart at the dartboard in a black room.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But check this out. The California Cannabis Company, with 16 dispensaries, 100 million in revenue, collapses. We're seeing a decline because of the California markets are declining because the street marijuana is being sold more. What do you think of street marijuana over dispensary weed, Harry?
I don't really know.
Rob G says the aliens did the pyramids.
The aliens are here with the Anunnaki. Well, it would make sense if the Anunnaki had 3D printers, then they would have just 3D printed those casts, put them in place, and poured in their concrete. Way easier than levitating shit.
That is
Still
true.
easier than levitating shit.
That is true,
Less
Canafam.
energy. They would have been saving that energy.
But
Especially if they were here to collect gold and get back to their home world, which would have been out extraterrestrials, right?
yeah, yeah.
Extra territories. You know what I'm talking about?
And see, I can see like California already overcharges for everything on a different on this note of fucking they had $100 million in revenue collapses because they do put out a lot of shoddy products, and in California you see a lot of quicker things popping up like strands and companies, and then they disappear because of lawsuits and whatever. So, I can see them being overtaxed, and then, people aren't able to afford it. So they go in the street where it's cheaper. And then all these companies are losing out hundreds of millions of dollars from what it says. What do you think, Harry?
Um,
What is your take on all this magical bullshit of California going on?
You know, California is a different world than what we live in, you know?
Yeah, it's a whole different animal.
it's the most
Welcome to the jungle.
lawful and flawless place you could possibly think of.
Yeah,
It's crazy there.
they got Los Angeles, which is the city of fallen angels,
I don't know how any
lost
business could
angels.
survive there, to be honest with
Yeah,
you. Any business at all. Like
yeah,
it just seems like they want so much money for everything over there. It's like
yeah. A pack of cigarettes is like 10, 15 bucks. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes, but Jesus Christ, they're a lot of money.
yeah, it's pretty wild, especially if you're a daily smoker, you know, on the daily grind with the pack.
Yeah, I know this dude named All Hell. We'll just call him that for,
YouTube sake.
YouTube's sake, but All Hell, because he says that a lot. Fucking, he smokes like a freight train. He smokes like 2, 3 cartons a day, probably.
You see him
Not
rolling
really,
down the
but
road.
like at least two, yeah, 2 packs. Yeah, dude's like a train, man. You'll just see a fog cloud of fucking cigarette
You
smoke.
just hear
It's like, oh, like, damn, dude. Guy sounds like fucking Sling Blade. That's who he reminds me of. Oh hell. But
eh,
shout out to you, all hell, if you're watching, buddy. What's up, man? But
so we're still talking about the pyramids and we got our
no, we're
little
not talking about the pyramid.
so we
Damn,
were
the edibles were pretty good. Harry's still back in the pyramid times.
yep.
We're talking about, well, we'll move on. New York, oh, we already did that. Hold on.
We already did that one.
Yeah, we're having an issue here
We've
in the
already
docket.
we've covered one docket and some of the other docket.
Yeah, yeah. We got Nevada lawmakers discuss plan to create psychedelic therapy pilot program. So they want to give people mushrooms and stuff. And I
Oh,
think
dude, I swear we talked about Nevada the
yeah,
mushrooms on the
yeah,
I swear we did.
shit, that was,
I mean I think it's cool in our lifetimes that we get to see so many things become more
uh,
readily available and more experiments and tests be done on them.
yeah, yeah. I think people should trip base in Nevada. It'd be a great place with all them lights.
Oh yeah, and in Nevada and Vegas,
Yeah,
it'd be like
yeah,
some
absolutely.
kind of crazy music video. But watch out, they'll take all your money.
Now, the Maryland bill is to let Maryland's trying to let adults make marijuana edibles and concentrate at home. Now, that's what me and Harry love to do. We like to pretend we're, freaking, what is it?
Um,
What are them
um,
people? Bakers?
well, yeah, I'm trying to think of
Bakers, Harry.
stoner, the baked stoners, the
Yeah,
baker
yeah,
stoners.
we're like the stoner bakers, and, Harry makes fucking,
I like to bake. I can
yeah,
make all kinds
and
of
I
stuff
like
in
to
an
do
oven.
food.
All
So,
kinds of stuff in an oven.
yeah,
From
yeah.
pizzas, cakes.
We're going to infuse so much shit for you guys. We're going to
I
shake your
can make
hands.
fancy stuff too, like pastries. I like some pastries, but it's been a while since I cracked out the old rolling pin.
That is a true thing too, Rob G. A lot of states are having that problem where they grow too much damn weed and they can't get rid of it. Now, what state did we cover that did that? Wasn't that like Oregon or something? One of these
It was
states
one of
grew
them. I
so
can't
much
remember.
weed that like there was very little people who bought it and they're just stuck with tons of fucking weed. And I don't know why they don't just sell it to a different state
Well,
and make money.
I think it's supposed to work more like a petri dish, and it's supposed to be like within that state. It's not actually
Oh
supposed to go
shit.
out of that state.
Yeah, they can't shit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's really supposed to work that way. I don't.
Man.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the way they attended it was like a state by state area, and if it's grown in that state, it's consumed in that state. Now,
Yeah.
what they could do is they could, figure out if they have a ton of it, figure out a way to process it in a different way to make it into something else. You can turn it into other stuff, you know? Like,
Yeah.
just figure out a different
Yeah.
way to profit off of it, and even
Yeah.
if you're not making as much money, people are still gonna buy these products because they're made from cannabis.
Absolutely. When there's a will, there's a way. You can
And
always make a
then
dollar.
and then if you're making it into something that's you're not gonna consume it, you're gonna wear it, or it's a tool, or it's a gas or something. Well, now you can sell it somewhere else because now it's not a drug. Now it's an article of clothing, or it's a necklace, or it's a watch, or it's a part for something now. It's not cannabis anymore. It's made from cannabis, and that's how you sell it.
Yeah,
People are gonna
yeah,
eat it up. There you go, Oregon, solved your problem. Or whatever state it was who has too
yeah,
much cannabis. You
yeah,
just gotta, figure out a different way to apply it somewhere else.
yeah.
There's some way to do it.
I'd say most definitely, man. Um, there. I mean, I I know two people I could name, but I'm not going to name right off the top of my head that has, figured things out with cannabis and pulled together money. So, it can be done. I've seen it done by companies and people in my life. I've heard Michigan now Supreme Court marijuana smell alone cannot justify police search a vehicle.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that article actually.
Yeah, yeah, and if you're if you're smoking blunt after blunt in your car and your car smells like a dank blunt roach, and you get pulled over down
Well,
the
I mean, if it's legal to possess it, and you're gonna have to
road.
transport it, and sometimes some of the stuff is so stinky, it could be in a
Yeah,
couple bags, and it's still stinking up your car, and you
yeah,
might not even be consuming it, you might not even be smoking it, and it still just lingers around in there. So yeah, I don't see why, especially if it's legal, then it shouldn't be a problem.
yeah. They need to tell the difference between lit weed and weed that's not been lit, so maybe they can train.
Well, in all fairness, when you don't smoke it, it hits you in the face either way.
Yeah, it has quite a pungent odor. Some strands are pretty damn dank.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I mean,
know
no, don't
that.
smoke it. You smell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say. Let's see here. Colorado.
Next up,
Yeah, next up on the docket, Colorado Springs marijuana business prepare to launch retail sales. That's pretty fucking boring.
Mooresville.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
What you got next?
Think older folks deal with pain. New findings show that pain in young adults can spark early cannabis use and often risky co-use of with alcohol.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah, so they're thinking, teens are searching for an organic pain,
Well, here's what I
finder,
think.
and
Here's what I think. They talk about cannabis being a gateway drug,
yeah,
but really, when I smoke cannabis, the only gateway it's opening me up to is Oreos and ice cream.
yeah, Oreos, ice cream, chocolate bars, all that shit. I mean, I don't really see a problem with it.
Now, alcohol will open you up to all kinds of crazy things because
Yeah,
you'll go with whatever anybody's doing,
or you might
if
wake
they're
up in a drunk tank.
or they're doing like those things, or they're doing other. You might
Yeah,
partake in those things.
yeah. Think about this. With weed, you're going to smoke a blunt. You're going to, make yourself some food. You're going to pass out on the couch. Now, with alcohol, you're going to make yourself some drinks. You're going to get shit faced, and you're going to either wake up next to a really fat bitch or in jail. And you
I mean,
don't want to do
what
either. No, I'm
I
just
I don't
kidding.
know, man. Like I just think that.
But with alcohol, my point is, with that dumb shit I just said, is you make bad choices.
Right, I think
And,
alcohol is way more of a gateway drug
yeah.
than what cannabis would be. Because I feel like whenever I've just been on cannabis, like looking at other things is like, no, I don't really want that. I'd rather just enjoy this buzz from this cannabis, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that was one hell of an analogy, don't you think, though, Harry?
It was an analogy.
Analogy.
Yeah,
Let's check.
so I,
Let's
I
check the
but
chat.
but I'm kind of anti-alcohol
Um,
anyway. I don't think alcohol is good. I think it's the really bad thing, and cannabis is actually the good thing, and we have this all backwards and have forever.
hey, I think alcohol's ass. It tastes like ass. That's just my opinion. I don't like it.
Well, and then too, like again, like I've
I used to
smoked
drink it
pot
years ago off and on.
for so many years, and then one time I decide, you know what, I'm gonna take a tolerance break, and it's so easy to just not smoke weed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not that hard, I got to say.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
It's so easy not to smoke it, and then and like something like alcohol. If I would have drank alcohol consistently as much as I have smoked pot, I would probably need medication to not. take alcohol and I would never
Yeah.
be right again after that.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta say, I don't enjoy drinking. I never have. It's just not
Or
my
at
thing.
least you'd have that risk of never being right again after that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, like alcohol seems like the way worse one to me.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's never a fun one when you're shit at face and you've passed out and pissed yourself.
Oh, and the smens.
Yeah. Oh, I know a guy fell down the stairs with his pants around his ankles and put his head through drywall.
Wild.
His name was Eddie. Yeah, years ago. And we were all having a party. Eddie fell down the stairs fighting the sweeper. He got tangled up in the cord, fell down the stairs with his wiener flopping out down the stairs, and banged his head right through the fucking drywall and passed out. We had to pull his pants up. I didn't do it. Motherfucker's like, pull his pants up. I'm like, no, man. Motherfucker's like pissing himself, falling down the stairs, put his head through the fucking wall and passed out, bro. I'm like, damn, bro, he was drunk as fuck. I've never done that awesome weed. I've never taken a dab and just fell down the stairs, my pants around my ankles, and
Don't
put my head through the wall.
the lesson is don't hit dabs on top of stairs.
Yep, don't get drunk and fight a sweeper.
Don't get drunk and fight a sweeper.
Yep, you will lose. That is the moral of today's story.
Um,
Those fucking Eddie, man, it was funny as shit. Skater dude we knew back in the day. He did some wild shit. It was like Jackass and Bam Margera all mixed in one person. So, I mean, you could just imagine.
what was up on the docket?
No, we went through the
Oh,
docket, Harry. We covered what we're doing for our new grows. We got that out of the way. Other reviews, because people been enjoying our reviews. Now marijuana is not on the table for rescheduling. Hawaii proven psychedelic therapy. We did Nebraska approves medical marijuana. Study shows CBG and CBD helps with allergies. We've done the CBD relieves epilepsy seizures 2 times quicker than the meds. We've also done new bill shows that Elon Musk will be fucked and tested if he smokes any type of weed if this bill passes. And New York is launching weed grow programs. And then, Michigan said, your car smelling like 10 pounds of marijuana on wheels isn't enough for them to, do a search anymore. Because, you can just smoke a weed out in your car and your car can smell like a dank ass roach ashtray.
I feel like Elon's will show up at the doctor's office. Look at the doctor. He'll hand him the cup with a stack of money on top of it and say, "All right, here, you pee in the cup. That's my sample." Just walk out the room.
Michael Richards just entered the chat. What is up, homie? What's
So,
going on, man? We see you in the comment section all
I
the
was just
time.
being
How
goofy.
you doing, man? We covered a lot of stuff here on the docket, Michael, man. If you guys
How long have we been running?
oh, we've been
Few
running
hours.
for we've been running solidly 2 hours. I gotta go pee, Harry.
Oh, you gotta go pee. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Checking the microphones.
If
They
you
look
want to
good.
talk about something, man, real quick.
Um,
What do you think about this wedding cheesecake? What made you choose the wedding cheesecake and want to grow it the way you did?
I didn't choose the wedding cheesecake. The wedding
Wedding cheesecake.
cheesecake chose
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, what I was trying to germinate the jelly donuts, but it didn't work out. So then I tried several other seeds that I think my seeds got too much exposure some way or another. I just didn't have them in a very good container. I switched up the container since then. The ones that were still in the vials I have no problem with, but the ones outside the vials I'm seeming to have issues with. So I'm just kind of going through them now and trying to weed out which ones are actually going to pop and which ones aren't. But the fast flower from 42 Fast Buds was still in the vials, and that was the wedding cheesecakes. So, and I originally popped them because I thought, oh, wedding cheesecakes, it has that cheese in it, but it also has wedding cake in it. So it'll probably have more indica, but it's actually more sativa. But they're growing really healthy and they look like they're doing pretty good. So I'm just gonna, grow them and hopefully they don't get too out of control because looking at the information on the cultivation facts on them, they do get really tall. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of low stress training and Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm hoping I can do something in the bigger tent like I did in the smaller tent. And because the mimosa cake's going in a smaller pot in a smaller tent, I'm hoping I'll manipulate it a little bit with one time doing a low stress training technique. And that's probably all I'll do to that mimosa cake once it gets into the bigger pot and settles in. I'll at least wait till it's at the third node before I do that low stress train one time, and that's it, and see how it does. And the other ones I'm gonna low stress train a lot because they have that photo period advantage, so I'll really be able to get in there and do a lot of manipulation like I did the gorilla cookies. I'm excited to try again on autoflowers. I really am. Um, I goofed up last time. I didn't realize how sensitive they were going to be to silica, and I just kept giving them silica, which created a block out and then a lockout. And then by the time it was starting to get fixed, the plant was already done growing, and there was just not much I could do with that amnesia haze. So I'm really glad to have a at least one try again on an autoflower. I think that's gonna hopefully I can get redeemed on that and get some good time lapse footage ultimately with it. What do you think?
Oh
Soda pop.
man, yeah. It
Did
was cold. It was cold. We got some chats.
we get
I'm
chat?
going to catch up on them. Give me 1 minute.
All right.
Let me get back to what you were saying. Um, I think you had some issues with just the auto flowers. You have that sometimes because the genetics were not the best. If he would have had personally, if old Harry would have had like Manifesto or Barney's Farm or Royal Queens or Herbie's or even 42 Fast Buds, I think the plants would have been immaculate. The bud turned out really good in the amnesia hazes. Um, I messed up on my bananas too. I accidentally put tablespoons instead of teaspoons, and the buds didn't come out the best. But you know, and then I had the issue with the expired 8-year-old expired cow mag in the mimosa cake, and then I fixed that by just buying more cow mag. That was newer, but yeah, we all have our trials and errors we run into. I'd say in our grows.
Well, that's why I think like in the beginning it kind of has to be a little bit of an experiment because in the beginning you don't really know everything just yet. You kind of have to trial and error it a little bit and see, well, what if I do this? Well, what if I do that? Well, and then you look at what everybody says, and there's so many contradictory things online that it can just make your head hurt. So the way I approach it is I say, okay, well, I've heard this. Let me see what happens when I do it.
Yeah, and I agree right here. It says Michael Richards says it's all learning process, baby. And that is true. It's a learning process, just like me. I didn't read, the damn expiration date on my nutrients and you had the issues you had.
Silica, too much silica.
Yeah. He also said go with Manifesto Genetics for autos. Yeah, I agree absolutely. Around the board there are some really good companies. I agree, Michael Richards for autos, but Manifesto has some severely frosty strands. So, I got to go with them. They are a good brand and we will order genetics from them but you got to understand, guys, just real quick, we will definitely order different companies and do different grows, but right now we are stocked in seeds, me and Harry. So, once
Yeah,
we
I got a
get
ton to go through.
yeah, once we get, 20, 30, 40, 50 grows out of the way, then we'll, take you guys seed shopping with us and we'll do an online and show you guys, we'll do a video on it, show you guys why we picked it. It'll be an interesting video, actually.
I
Well,
really want to get a hold of some caramello and I want to get a hold of some
caramello.
papayas.
I want some blackberry caviar and blueberry caviar from Huckleberry Farm.
Okay, I haven't been
Yeah.
looking around at the seeds. I'm just thinking of ones off the top of my head that I remember from back in the day that were really good. I'm like, yeah, man, I would love to just grow that one time.
Yeah, yeah,
And I could
yeah.
hit up my buddy and be like, look, yeah, caramello, Yaku, caramello.
Let's see here. He said, smoking on some diamonds this evening. Hell yeah, me too.
Nice.
Me too. This is live resin and diamond 2 gram pin from favorites. It is nutty coconut. What are you toking on over there, Harry?
I don't even know. I don't even know this evening. I'm so fried.
Harry's fried off his ass, guys. He got really super high today. I did too. I gotta say. So he's not the only one.
I had a pen over here. It was a
The
donut.
cannabis fairy stole it, guys.
It vanished on me. Went somewhere. Oh shoot.
I don't know if you guys ever had cheer wine, but it is one damn good pop.
I don't know. I guess right now I'm not puffing on
Well,
anything.
well, Harry Cole is smoking on Zero OG right now.
Zero OG.
I'm smoking on Nutty Coconut, which is
Oh,
some diamonds.
there we go. I figured it out.
Oh, nope.
It's key lime pie from Donuts.
The up there we go, Harry. Key lime pie from
You know
Donuts,
what? I
can of
figured
fam.
out why I lost it. The battery died on it, and I was like,
Shit.
"Oh, it just
There we
doesn't work anymore. I don't need that."
go. The battery died on it.
Yep, I was just like, "Yep, don't
Oh
need."
shit, we got a charger over here in the studio, Harry.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get it on the charger. Let's see. Let's see. The next grow says, "Yo, what is up, next grow? How are you doing out there?" We've went through our docket. Now we're just at the part of the show where we hang out with the audience and
just chilling.
yeah, just smoke and chill pretty much. I'm going to put this on the charger real quick, Harry. But also, Michael Richards says, do. Um, along with some Candy Glacier Strand. Now, Candy Glacier Strand sounds really good. Michael, is that a indica or sativa? Gotta let me know. That sounds fire.
Sounds like a hybrid.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta put this over here.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like I would say it's a hybrid of some kind.
Hybrid?
Yeah, that's what I'm nailing. Because of the glacial, where it makes me think of it's probably crossed with several things.
Like some thin mints?
I don't know. Thin mint seems to be on a lot of cultivars. They really like to cross thin mints into stuff. That and Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue seems to be a big one. Sherbet and gelato.
Yep.
A lot. Yeah, today we're at the end of the show and we're just vibing pretty much. Indica leaning hybrid. Okay. It's an indica leaning hybrid. That sounds fire.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like indica hybrids. I
Yeah.
recently was
Yeah.
smoking on some peanut butter and jelly that was pretty fire.
Yeah, I gotta say. Guys, we are at currently 1,900 subscribers
It's
here.
wild.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Crazy.
It's
We're
wild.
almost at 2,000 subscribers. I never thought we'd get over 800. I don't know why, but ever since I started the channel, that was just in my head, like we'll get 800 subscribers.
Uh,
Like, but
I figured it would grow, but it's starting to grow really fast now. It's growing a
yeah.
little bit faster than what I had anticipated, so that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, we've been ramping up production and getting things done for you guys at home watching and, viewing every time, watching the podcast, watching the Munchie Mondays, watching the What Mats My Dreads, you
Right, all
know.
the reviews and
Yeah,
stuff,
all the
especially.
reviews, all the edible. Oh, we already covered the Munchie Mondays, the reviews.
Yep.
What is your best or your most favorite review that we did, Harry?
My most favorite review? I don't know,
I
maybe.
gotta say the Muhammad carts or the 2 gram Muhammad video we did. We did a lot of Muhammads because we like Muhammads here at Two Buds in a Jar for sure.
My favorite review probably would still have been the Mars Tokes Back, man. That was
Mars
fun.
jokes back,
That was a fun, goofy one.
I gotta say,
Unfortunately, that was one of the ones that got copyright strikes in them, and I had to go in and fix a bunch of things, so it's not at its original version anymore.
yeah, it was altered unfortunately because of you, boob.
Yep. Well, yep. Good old YouTube.
Yeah, they got us.
Well, due to copyright issues.
Man, we just, you know what's funny? We just did a video, Michael Richards. He just said you lost your damn gram of permanent marker hash rosin. And the strand permanent marker was mentioned in that. Me and Harry were actually going back. Now, he wouldn't smoke it because I've had it and it smells and tastes like a permanent marker, a black permanent marker. No,
That's not up my alley.
that's just not up your alley, Harry.
No, no, things that like aren't normal to eat or ingest just are like that's you're
Yeah,
not supposed to eat that.
I feel it like if there was a paint strand and it
Like
just
even or
tasted
like
and
blue
smelled like paint.
cheese or
Yeah.
like garbage or donkey shit or
Yeah,
something like that. You
there's
just like
donkey breath and it smells like straight donkey shit. There's dumpster weed and it smells like a hot dumpster bag and hot dumpster juice on a 90-degree day. And what was all blue cheese and it smells like just, well, a rotted fart and cheese.
blue cheese.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So, it happens. Um, I just had one of them Muhammad's. Yeah, the Muhammad's are fire. A lot of people sleep on them. They are fire and they come with a lot of good strands like the watermelon, the blackberry. There's just umpteenth ones. The key lime OG is even good. The Mai Tai sativa is pretty good. The Slurricane's good from Muhammad's.
Yeah,
Like
all their flavors
the
are always
grape
pretty good.
punch, the grape ape. Um, yeah, dude, the blue raz. I mean,
They had a lot of good ones.
yeah, strawberry cough was even all right. Um, let's see. Checking it out, checking it out. Boom, boom, boom. Interesting. Okay. We're caught up in the chat, just making sure.
Cool.
Now, Harry, what you guys say? What is your favorite form of today of smoking weed? Do you like just hitting it from the bowl? 'Cause we update every time, every so many live. We'll see how we're smoking, what we're smoking. I've been vaping all of my cannabis and using disposables and carts. What about you?
I'm pretty old school, man. I like to puff my flower out of a bowl. My bowl does need cleaned because it's pretty resiny and dirty, but I still like that old school way of just every now and then just puffing down a bowl of cannabis.
Yeah, puffing down a bowl. I love vaping, so Harry's with the old bowl. He likes the old school way. And strawberry. Oh, it says it was strawberry something, so I'm guessing it was strawberry cough.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm thinking it was a strawberry cough.
there's strawberry gorilla too now.
Yeah, yeah, there is a lot of strawberry strands. Maybe it was strawberries,
And there's
like the
strawberry shortcake.
strawberry shortcake. Yeah, and that's one. I can't remember. BHO fan, yeah, BHO's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
butane hash oil.
yeah,
I haven't had it in a long time. No,
yeah, same. We had concentrates. We just did a
the
concentrate
sugar
review.
wax.
Yeah, it was Summit Concentrates from Colorado. If you guys haven't checked the video out, go check it out. It's one of the few concentrates videos we have on the channel. We ain't got a lot in that category, but we will, it's just building up the different categories and different videos as we go and make content though. Um, yeah. But I mean, don't you foresee making concentrate somewhere along the line, man?
Um, I don't know, man.
As far as organically instead of ones with chemicals, you
Um,
know?
all that equipment's really expensive. I mean, if we got donated like half the equipment and we could afford the other half, then maybe. But
Yeah,
other than that, I don't know.
yeah. The
So maybe somewhere down the road we could get all the equipment and stuff that we would need to whip up some rosin. But then again too, we need like a serious amount of plants being able to be grown.
yeah, that is true.
Yeah, you gotta.
Hillbilly said a bull if it's just me, a doobie if it's a group of 2 or 5 people.
It's old school
So
way.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to you, Hillbilly. What's up, man? Um, I've been ordering my diamonds for 200 an ounce from Hemp Generation. Nice company.
Hmm.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. Cause $200 for an ounce of diamonds, that's cheap as fuck.
That sounds crazy cheap.
That's cheap as
That's almost suspicious cheap to me.
yeah, we'll have to check that out, Mike. For sure, man.
Suspicious cheap to me.
Yeah. I've been ordering okay, I just read that. And then yeah, Hillbilly. Okay. Cool. Now we're back, man. Just catching up on, chat, making sure we're not leaving nobody out, shouting everybody out and stuff. But yeah, we've pretty much covered everything on the docket. We've covered even more stuff on our digital docket over here. And man, we have shot so much content today, Harry. It's absolutely crazy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we got a lot of videos shot today. I got a
Yeah.
lot of editing to catch up on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got let's see. We got 2 reviews done. We got 1 Munchie Monday done. We got a live podcast we're doing right now, and then we got tons of shorts coming this week while Harry will be releasing and editing the videos for you guys. Then we do it all over again Monday,
Yep.
and it's a new form of content. If you guys have any ideas what you'd like to see, let us know down in the comments section below as well. Um, you know, we have tons of ideas, but if there's something you want to see on the channel, I know some of you do, and we write them down, and we do applicate them because those are things we haven't done yet. You guys want to see them, so we're always susceptible to ideas, and who knows, we may pick one of your ideas and use it for a video. I mean, like I said, we got plenty of content ideas, but we're open-minded people, so let us know down in the comments section below. Hold on. Um, Michael Richards, you have a good evening too, man. Um, let's
Yep.
see. Michigan broke the math. Yeah, I gotta say, Hillbilly man, Michigan definitely had a lot more cheaper products and they're releasing a lot more cheaper products and they are trying to beat the market right now. So what you're seeing is there's a lot of states, selling cannabis and they're trying to go the absolute lowest in order to move the most and make money, it does make sense. If you think about it, if everybody in you has a product, right? But you turn around and make your product lower than everybody selling the same product around you, then everybody's want to go to that place. Just like in stores, people mainly go to Walmart. They don't, gravitate towards somewhere like Target or, places like that where things may be pricier. So it's the same thing. And Michigan's trying to be that state where, everybody come to us because our pens are cheaper or gummies are cheaper and they just get tons of weed. And they have tons of weed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not too far away from us where we're at, and they grow tons of weed and they get some fire products. Like Platinum was good until they had a recall. That sucks.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite companies. And then Muhammad, thankfully, they come out of Michigan, and luckily they don't have no issues there. And there's a few other ones we did. I can't remember.
Yeah. We've done so many
Yeah,
cards.
Smileys, and yeah, it's hard to remember.
Yeah, there were the colors and the sweet tart carts and uh, man, there's been so many carts.
Hillbilly has an idea where he says a comparative episode comparing one strand from multiple growers. Yeah,
That would be a cool episode.
yeah, yeah.
That would be a cool
I gotta
episode.
say, yeah, because 10
Different
people.
growers do grow strands differently.
Yeah, yeah,
Having different
exactly.
techniques and the different environments have different results too.
And we do know people, and we are going to get out in other cannabis gardens and see other cannabis grows. It's just right now, particularly,
It would be the tricky thing. Would I guess I
it's
mean
weather right now.
would it be like past grows or all current? Everybody's growing the same plant at the same time.
I would say everybody's growing the same plant at the same time to see how other
So
people
there would
grow.
be more of a competition.
Yeah, like a grow off.
Yeah, we got to talk to some other growers like
Yeah.
who else do who we could talk to about this idea.
One of my dude, Mikey, a couple other people, Harley, Mikey.
Do we have any other people with like YouTube channels we could contact?
No,
No.
no, no, no. We're two buds and jars all alone in this YouTube world. We got our other YouTubers that do weed content, but
I'm just thinking.
we're
I'm
just
trying to.
out there in the pond,
It'd be cool if we could get
off on the island by ourselves, smoking joints.
like
Like,
trying to think of people who actually show plants. Like I think Mr. Grow It,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
does stuff like that with
yeah.
competitions.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. We'll have to do that
Or
sometime.
like Matt from the Strand Show.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. I think all weed tubers should have a friendly competition. It would be cool, for grow offs. Yeah.
I need to polish my skills a little bit more before I do all that, but I'm getting there. I'm catching up real quick. Doing as much science as I can with it and do
No,
everything, try everything,
I mean,
get
so,
excited.
hey, you got to be excited about growing. Got to be excited about them fat flowers too.
Oh yeah, when you get to see those koalas swell up, and you're just like, oh, it's getting bigger. Oh, the branch is bending. Yeah. Oh, we got more comments in the comment section. What are they saying? Ideas? Good stuff.
Oh, it's moving away from I got some of this to I have some of so and so's.
What?
Oh, so what he's saying is basically a comparative episode comparing one strand from multiple growers. It's moving away from I got some of this to I got some of so and so's. So like basically maybe genetics growing different strands, I'm assuming.
Or I think maybe you might be talking about like this bud, this bud, this bud, this
Yeah,
bud, like all on
yeah.
a table,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, like
actually
a bud
having the
test.
buds.
Yeah.
That would be
Okay.
tricky to do. I mean,
That would be
it would just it would take everybody
yeah.
growing the same plants at the same time, getting them all cured at the same time, and then labeling the jars, and then we'd have them here on the table ready to try.
Yeah, because I do know about, three different growers. I could easily travel to their houses and check out the grows. But I mean, outside of that, the majority of growers I know is on an online community. Online communities.
Right. I mean, we could talk to people online and see if we could try you do something, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
Hillbilly, that's a good
they have
idea. We will
cameras.
definitely store it for, once we get people together and rally on it, because I think that would be a great idea, honestly. Oh,
It'd be an interesting project.
that's some good stuff. Yeah. Again, guys, I don't know if you've tried Cheer Wine Pop. It's phenomenal. We're not sponsored by them, but shout out to Cheer Wine. They know what they're doing. Some good cream soda flavor. It tastes like it's straight out the bottle, cherry pop stuff. Pretty good, I gotta say. What's your favorite go-to munchie or drink, Harry?
No, well, Mountain Dew is my go-to drink. Munchies, yeah, I
That's
I really am a chocoholic. I love chocolate, but it's sometimes if I'm trying not to go crazy on chocolate, bananas would be my next thing to really go to if I'm trying not to eat too
bananas.
much crazy chocolate amounts.
I would have to go to meat and crackers as my favorite snack, like salami, pepperoni, ham, and just on Ritz crackers. Um, or fruit. I like to have fruit. And favorite drink. Damn, damn, that's a hard one. So many things I like to drink.
Coffee,
No, I can't say.
energy drinks.
I do like coffee and energy drinks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, my favorite drink's an energy drink, but next to that's water.
Yeah.
These splashes right here. This is what I'm on these. It's a Kai grape splash refresher. They're amazing, dude. They're like bottles of water, and they taste more like their counterparts of fruit flavoring than they do water. So they're just terrific
Hmm,
for getting hydrated.
nice.
Yeah. Um.
We got more comments popping in. Some more chat.
Oh man, Hillbilly, we'll be making some edibles that are for sure like pastries and things of that. We got cookies, a video on cookies that we did. We have a video gummies that we did. But we will have one on pastry things for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I could do all kinds of different pastries, cream puffs, and
Yeah.
but that stuff is a lot more intricate. I need.
Just requires
more
more things at
materials.
Kroger's.
Yeah, we might need like a can of sugar and a can of salt and more things to get the can in there.
Yeah, shout out to Kroger's for having everything you need to make edibles with homos. Yeah.
Shout out to Kroger's.
Yeah, shout out to Kroger's. Walmart, you
Trying to get
failed
that
us.
sponsor for Kroger's.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Think the best
You know, in
sponsors.
today's economy, cheaper groceries would be nice. I just spent like every time I go to the grocery store, it's like 250, 300 some dollars,
It's
dude.
crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
doing the opposite thing. I figured out how to beat them at their own game, and this is all you got to do. You got to take your belt, and you got to punch three new notches in it that you didn't even think were there or you could make there, but you're gonna make them there. And then you go into the store and you go, all right, you fuckers are only getting $80 out of me, so I'm putting $80 in this cart. I'm gonna pay for it, and I believe. See ya.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man,
But I can
guys.
make shit out of flour, you know.
Yeah, Harry is addicted to pizza. That's one thing you guys don't know about Harry Cola. He'll eat pizza for
Well, okay, so now
every
you
day,
make it
all
sound
day, 7 days a week.
bad. You make it sound bad because I'm not eating pizza from I'm
Mo-
not eating frozen
Monday to
pizza.
Sunday.
I'm not eating store-bought pizza or restaurant pizza. I make the dough from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, I know all the ingredients that go into my dough. There's no preservatives. It's never frozen. It's fresh yeast. You know, so it is the best pizza dough that you could eat.
And he's taking that yeast away from his plants, ladies and gentlemen, to
Oh
make this
yeah, so
pizza dough.
we gotta share.
Yeah.
I get two kinds of yeast. I get a kind of yeast for the plants for their CO2, and I get a type of yeast that I use for pizza dough.
Yeah.
Two different kinds of
Yeah.
yeast.
He buys the more expensive one for the pizza dough.
No, no. The pizza dough, you actually don't want to use a fast rising yeast. You want a slower rising yeast because that fast rising yeast is more for your bread. The slower rising yeast works better for your pizza dough because you don't want it to rise up too slowly or too quickly. You want it to rise up more slowly. That way it has time to mature. You want that dough to mature for about 24 to 48 hours. Then it's at prime use right there.
Cure your pizza crust like you cure your buds at home, can of family.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Buds take a little longer sometimes though.
Oh yeah, hillbilly. I love biscuits and gravy. Let me tell you what, I do love some sausage biscuits and gravy.
I'm a bacon man
Oh
myself.
yeah. Like at big breakfast, it's like, man, the best thing about sausage biscuits and gravy is you can put bacon in it when you have your sausage already. You can put eggs in, like anything, ham. Like you can just put anything and mix that with it and just have a breakfast bowl of sausage biscuits, gravy, bacon, eggs. Like it's fire,
Yeah,
potatoes.
everything goes with white gravy.
Yeah, everything goes with white gravy in the morning. I agree. That would be good. It'd be good to like,
Infused.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. An infused breakfast can of family.
So
That's coming
I
up
could
with Munchy
we
Mondays.
could definitely infuse the butter. I don't think I could infuse. Oh, I might be able to infuse the biscuits if we could bake them at 300 degrees.
We can, yeah, you can lower the temperature of biscuits. They just take longer, so
Yes, yeah,
we
it'll take a
can.
little longer. So you'd have to lower it. We'd have to tweak the recipe. I'd have to sit down and look at it and do some tweaks to it. We could make it work for sure.
Happy birthday to, let's see, Jesus Maison. Birthday today?
Is it
Yeah.
Jesus or Jesus?
It's Jesus.
Is it Jesus?
Yes. Jesus Maison. My bad.
Happy
I had
birthday.
sunglasses on. But happy birthday, man. Shout out from Two Buds in a Jar on YouTube here. How you doing out there? Hope your birthday's going well, man. Hope you're getting stoned as hell.
Right, got some edibles to munch down or some
Yeah.
concentrates to torch up.
Or some disposables to toke on,
Oh man,
you know.
yeah, just good old disposables. So,
Yeah.
disposables are nice. I think I like the carts over disposables just because I feel like I can get more use out of a cart because of the battery is detachable.
Yeah.
So I could always have two batteries and just switch out batteries if my battery dies, opposed to my disposable, my battery dies. Well, now I'm out of a cart.
Yeah, and it sucks, especially when you break your cart in your
Well,
pocket.
the disposables kind of feel like they're limited to how much you can hit them, to where the carts feel like you can get way bigger rips from. Still to some extent, because that cotton can only hold so much juice before it gets dry.
Yeah, that is true. And then you're ended up with a dry coil and you get a dry spot and you hit it and it tastes burnt and metally.
Yeah, that's no good. You don't want that. Don't want that at all. It's not good for the lungs.
No, it tastes like charred asshole,
Yeah. Yep.
you know. But
We got
so
more comment.
so yep, it's Jesus Mason's birthday. Happy birthday. Hillbilly was his last comment was about the actual biscuits and gravy and that they're fire. Biscuits and gravy's good.
We were talking about infusing everything.
Yeah, and we were talking. Yeah, yeah, that's where we got on an infused breakfast. So we'll be showing you guys how to do that Munchy Monday. Yep,
Eventually.
yep,
It's going
eventually.
to take a lot of preparation. To make syrup, we're going to have to infuse. We're going to need sugar for that. For the
Yeah,
biscuits, are going to call for sugar and salt that's infused.
and
Probably need butter and coconut oil ultimately.
yeah, and we have to grow the strands. Yeah, we got to grow the strands ultimately before even all that stuff Harry just said. So
And it is a race car. This plant it grows as fast as a race car drives, but somehow it takes months, 2, 3 months before it's ever even close to done.
yeah, that's the problem when you become, either a weed tuber or you just grow weed. You just realize, there's never enough of it. Even when your plants are done, you just need to grow more. No matter, if you're a weed grower, period, in your own home, then you just realize that you never have enough buds for anything. You need more buds all the time.
And it's fun. It's fun to grow and learn and to play with different cultivars and to, like even with the gorilla cookies, I ran its course, but then I ran its course again with a clone, a monster crop clone from it, just to keep growing it and playing with it a little bit more, so I could understand that cultivar a little bit more before I moved on to the next ones. But doing other ones is fun too, because now I get to do both. I get to play with my photo periods, which I have a pretty well understanding of, and I get to learn more with the autoflowers, and hopefully this time I don't run into any of those same issues, but I think I have a regiment worked out in my head. I'm going to see how it works, and of course I'll drop the videos and update as I go along and tell you everything that I'm doing. But that's a fun project to do, and sometimes it can be frustrating, but that's only if there's stuff happening and you don't have no idea how to fix it.
Hellbilly says he grows the fuck out of mushrooms, plants not so much. Hey man, we all got our little niches, man. Some people are good at plants, some people are good at mushrooms, some people are,
Well, I
you
think
know.
growing mushrooms requires a lot less space,
Yeah.
and a little bit less equipment, a lot more sterile. You got to keep things way sterile, probably more so than plants. Plants have a little bit of forgiveness. You need to keep it sterile around plants as well, but mushrooms are like everything needs to be cleaned. You get contamination in there, it's messed up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I gotta say. So, I mean, there is a lot of skill to growing mushrooms and a lot of skill to growing cannabis, both. I mean, even growing plants, period. So, but I did want to tell you guys we did cover the docket. We got that done. We do have more content coming up. We got a ton of content coming. Matter of fact, as far as shorts, as far as reviews, as far as what mats my dreads, we got more of that coming too. We got more grow videos for all you growers out there. So we got a lot of content. We had a very short docket because we had just had so much to do this weekend. So much love to all of you guys. So, Harry, do
Thanks
you
y'all
got
for
anything
tuning
you
in.
want to say to the Canna family before we get out of here?
Let me think. Yeah, it's just thanks y'all for turning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you guys for the 1900 subscribers. Very much, much love to you guys. Me and Harry greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm your host, Dustin from Two Buds in a Jar, and I'm burning out. Me and Harry will see you guys next time. Cut.